Over here, I have jade plant that has been growing in the garden since I developed this part. As you can see, it's got trunks like little trees. It's so old. It's almost as old as the garden. This is elephant's foot. In Africa, these get about 6 to 8 feet tall and wide, and they even use the elephants come through, and the reason they call it elephant's foot, they get water from this. This is a way of getting water. It's from the succulent. And this is a Hoya. It's a variegated heart-shaped Hoya. It has a bloom that looks like they call it a wax flower. And I don't have any blooming right now, but I will send you the picture. My husband built this bridge for me as a surprise. It goes over a dry creek. We did this to keep the water flowing on the yard so that we don't have water rushing up to the house. And there's a gravel, follows the trail, so it's a dry creek. And because he was with Parks and Wildlife for a very long time, he just had to put the no diving or jumping from the bridge allowed. He is funny. And this is a Earth Star type of bromeliad. I love it because of the pink. I'm entranced with pink. You may have noticed a few pink flamingos around. Let's go across the bridge. This is a Chinese fan palm, and it's supposed to be slow growing, and it's not really supposed to take over like it has, but it is so happy here because, as I said, that moisture flows through here, and it has decided to be huge and take over the whole section. As you come in here, you'll see a frog. We took this from my mother-in-law's yard. And then these are caladium leaves. They use actual leaves to pour the molds, and it was a fundraiser for a group up in Dallas when I was at a convention up there for Garden Club. This is a core from San Jacinto Monument. When my husband was with Parks and Wildlife, they took cores from the building to check and see how good a shape it was in, and that is one of the cores. And I have an elephant here. And this is a type of bamboo, the non-trailing kind. This is a clumping kind. It will never get any, the group will never get any bigger. It's the only kind to get if you're going to get bamboo, is get the clumping kind. And then I have orchids. This is where I keep a lot of my orchids. You see one getting ready to put a new shoot out here. This one is making a baby off of this one. The babies are called kikis. This is a different type of one. I'm not sure how this one's going to do. I just got it from this nursery in Connecticut, so I'm kind of excited about it. This one has the prettiest pink bloom, and this one is off of one that my mother gave me about 20 years ago. I've got another big clump hanging out in the big garden. This is a variegated Hoya, but it's a regular leaf. You can see some of them are pink. And more orchids. My caladiums have been taking a hit in this garden because it gets more sun. My last trellises were metal and they rusted, so my husband decided to build me this wonderful trellis, and it took some doing because he built it on the sidewalk. We had to put it on top of furniture movers, and then there were 3 of us that walked it down the street, down my neighbor's driveway, and then moved it over here, and then we all picked it up and put it into the holes. And you may notice my elephant. He's for good luck. Over here I have a bird's nest fern, some more types of bromeliads. This is a prayer plant, the striped. I thought I had lost it, but it's coming back. And then we have another type of pink bromeliad. This one is called Pink Flamingo, which is appropriate for me. And if you'll notice over here, I have all sorts of things hanging off of what used to be a persimmon tree. It keeps trying to survive, but mainly I keep it because I like to have a place to hang my hanging baskets. And I have more types of bromeliads. This is a eupatorium. And around the back is the nursery. You'll come this way, where I raise plants for our plant sales. And I'm busy potting up stuff. The rose stone I bought when we were living in Austin, and I have carried it with me everywhere. And finally, when we decided to put in the pond, I said I have a place for it. The pond is a 650-gallon water trough. The man that built this, because I wanted an octagon, poured the base, and then we centered the water trough in the middle of it. And then he came up the sides with rocks, and he fixed a ledge so that you could sit on the edge. And it's home to our big koi. Those koi were about maybe 2 inches long when we got them. We had 3 large ones, and a blue heron decided to spear it and couldn't get it out of the pond, so it was planted out in the garden, became fertilizer. But the other 2, they're beautiful. They're so big. I'm surprised they haven't come and slipped water at us. We did have a waterfall, but we've had trouble with the waterfall, so it's not working. It was over there. You see the frog with the dragonfly? I was at the Tyler convention and they were selling frog statues, so the frog came home with me. I had him sitting up in the back of my SUV, and everybody who drove by was pointing because they thought it was so fascinating to see this big frog in the back. And you'll notice I have different plants in here. This is a dwarf cattail, and that is a pond iris. And over there you have arrow plant, and it has a real pretty blue bloom when it's blooming. We did have water lilies in here, but the trees have grown so much since we've been here that it shaded them out, and I no longer have water lilies. They need more sun. And over here I have a type of bromeliad. This is a Dickinson, and it has a little fruit on it, and I will get you that fruit right now. It looks like a small pineapple. And you can take this part and create a new plant. But you can see it looks like a small pineapple. Now this is another type of bromeliad that puts up a pineapple, but its pineapple is pinker. And I just repotted these so they look a lot nicer and neater. Here we have different types of succulents. With this is called flapjack. It's a type of calantula, or colantroy, however you wish to pronounce it. This is a sansevieria. I like this one because the leaves are not that dark green. And then I have different types of little sedums, and this is a Hawathia, and that is owl's eye. It's another type of succulent. And it's over 150 years old. And over here we have a bird of paradise, the regular one. This came from my mother-in-law's yard, and it has formed into a really large clump. You can see the pentas blooming. This is a cardboard palm. It's another type of cycad. It's related to the sago palm. And if you feel the leaves on it, they're very stiff and they feel kind of like cardboard, which is where it gets its name. And that came from Reagan Jordan. He gave me this dwarf powder puff. And I have pictures with it bloom in complete bloom, and I'll send those to you. And I have moss rose, more lilies, zinnias. This is another type of bromeliad. And then I've forgotten what the name of this is, but I like to have a few pots here and there just as accents. And of course, my rose is suffering from the heat. It's a hard time of the year for roses. Oh, and the angel trumpets are trying to bloom. I forgot. They're getting ready to open. You can see the pinks beginning to come out. Oh, this one's even better.
Cool.
And here's another Texas Garden Club sign that I got at another convention as a fundraiser. You can see more blooms up in there. They're really so pale right now, but when they fully open, they'll be that pretty pink. And the scent is intoxicating. It just is amazing. You smell it more at night than you do in the daytime because they attract sphinx moths to them, and that's how they pollinate. This blooms in the day. This particular epi blooms in the day, but the one over there that's in that container blooms at night, and the blooms are this big, and they too open at night to attract the right type of moth to pollinate them. And here we have the beautyberry. You can see the berries. This is a Texas native, primarily East Texas, but it does grow over here if it's in the right type of partial shade, because it doesn't like our South Texas heat either. That's it. Thank you so much for joining us in my garden. And do come by if you wish to go through. I'm happy to answer any questions from anybody. I write a gardening column for the newspapers, and so if you want to know about gardening, please read my column. Thank you.